Hare Krishna. Okay, so it's February 4th, 2024. It's Sunday, and sometimes on Sunday there's a tradition, even from the years I grew up in Krishna consciousness in Israel in the 80s. Sometimes on Sundays we would read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabhupada did that too. Sometimes Chaitanya Sunday would be like Chaitanya Charitamrita Day rather than the standard Bhagavatam. Of course, we don't have so much of a standard because we're not doing it near every day in the morning program. And so in our Chaitanya Charitamrita reading group, which is, we're on our 8th year, and so we're on the Antya-lila, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila, and chapter 4 is entitled Sanatana Gosvami Visits the Lord at Jagannath Puri. So we'll just read some from chapter 4 of Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, so I'll recite some further invocation verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is the very second verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodidal Gaurudaya Pushpan Bandal Chitral Sandal Tamonudal. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are just like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance in this age of Kali, and to wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Panchatattvat makam Krishnam bhakta rupa srupakam bhaktavataram bhaktakyam namami bhakta shaktikam. Jayatam suratal pangor mamamanda mater gati matsarvasva padamboja radhamadana mohanao. Glory to the all-merciful Radha and Madan Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors, and their lotus feet are everything to me. Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpachumada, Srimad Ratnagara Singhasana Style, Srila Radha Govinda Deval, Pristalibi Sevyamani Smarami. In a temple of jewels in a forest of Vrindavan beneath the desired tree, Sri Sri Radha and Govinda, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer them my respectful obeisances. Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsivata Tatastita Karshan Venu Staner Gopir Gopinata Sri Stuna. Sri Srila Gopinath, who is the inaugurator of the transcendental mellow of the rasa dance, stands upon the shore at Vamsivat, and he attracts all the cowherd damsels of Vraja with the sound of his celebrated flute. May they all confer upon us their benediction. So we're going to focus on Sanatana Goswami, his pastimes with Haridas Thakur and Lord Chaitanya. So of course there's a song, a bhajan, that Srila Prabhupada referenced a lot about the 6 Goswamis. So it has 8 stanzas. Just the second stanza, Prabhupada particularly quotes a lot. So this is about the 6 Goswamis. Nana Shastra Vicharane Kanipuna Sadharma Samstapaka Lokanamitakarina Tribhuvane Manyo Saranyakara Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nande Namatarika Vandero Pasanatana Raghuyoga Sri Jiva Gopalaka Vandero Pasanatana Raghuyoga Sri Jiva Gopalaka. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Srila Sanatana Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and Gopal Bhatt Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal spiritual principles for the benefit of all humanity. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they're absorbed in the mood of the gopis and always immersed in the service of Sri Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we're studying today chapter 4 of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila. Ansha means the end section, and the chapter is entitled Sanatana Goswami Visits the Lord at Jagannath Puri. This is kind of where we're studying in our Chaitanya Charitamrita study group. The chapter before is about the glories of Srila Haridas Thakur, before that about Junior Haridas, and the first chapter of the Antya-lila is about Rupa Goswami. So it's very helpful for our Krishna consciousness, for our spiritual lives, to really get to know these personalities. I know it's true for me, maybe for everyone else here. We might know so many other personalities from different areas of life, and to know the activities of other personalities. That's not going to help us, in our journey back home, back to Godhead. And so this is so with Sri Sanatana Goswami, he's the eldest. Sanatana Goswami is the eldest of the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. He's the elder brother of Rupa. Jiva Goswami is their nephew. Yes. So this is Antya-lila chapter 4. Generally speaking, there are three meetings of Sanatana Goswami and Lord Chaitanya. The first is at Ramakeli, and this is when Sanatana Goswami was still basically the prime minister of the Muslim government. And Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they're very astute, diplomatic, and they actually advised Lord Chaitanya to not go to Vrindavan, followed by big crowds, and he followed their advice. And then the next meeting with Sanatana Goswami is at Varanasi, and this is it. Really, there's 5 very intensive chapters. Is Madhya-lila chapters 20 to 24 of the Madhya-lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Lord Chaitanya instructs Sanatana Goswami in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So that's, generally speaking, we can say there's 5 major philosophical conversations in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I mean, there's philosophy all over the place, but 5 major philosophical conversations. One, the conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Prakashananda Sarasvati, described in the 7th chapter of the Adi-lila. And then there's the conversation with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya shortly after Lord Chaitanya arrives at Jagannath Puri. That is I believe, the 6th chapter of the Antya-lila. Then there's the extensive conversation, Lord Chaitanya's talks with Ramananda Roy in South India. That's the 8th chapter of Antya-lila. And then in the Antya-lila chapter 19, it's Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Rupa Goswami. Lord Chaitanya's extensive instructions. And then 5 chapters of Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatana Goswami, chapters 20 to 24. So then, now there's another meeting of Sanatana Goswami with Lord Chaitanya, and that's here at Jagannath Puri. So Lord Chaitanya, after his travels, he's back at Jagannath Puri, and Rupa Goswami visits him. Sanatana Goswami visits him. So I'm going to read the summary of the chapter summary. The 4th chapter of Antya-lila is summarized by Bhakti Vinod Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya as follows. Srila Sanatana Goswami came alone from Mathura to Jagannath Puri to see Lord Chaitanya. Because of bathing in bad water and not getting enough food every day while traveling on the path through Jarikhanda forest, he developed a disease that made his body itch. Suffering greatly from this itching, he resolved that in the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would throw himself under the wheel of Jagannath's car and in this way commit suicide. When Sanatana Goswami came to Jagannath Puri, he stayed under the care of Haridas Thakur for some time, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy to see him. The Lord informed Sanatana Goswami about the death of his younger brother Anupama, who had great faith in the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Sanatana Goswami, "Your decision to commit suicide is the result of the mode of ignorance. One cannot get love of God simply by committing suicide. You have already dedicated your life and body to my service. Therefore, your body does not belong to you, nor do you have any right to commit suicide. I have to execute many devotional services through your body. I want you to preach the cult of devotional service and go to Vrindavan to excavate the lost holy places." After having thus spoken, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, and Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami had many talks about this subject. One day, Sanatana Goswami was summoned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who wanted him to come to Yameshwar Tota. Sanatana Goswami reached the Lord through the path along the beach by the sea. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Sanatana Goswami which way he had come, Sanatana replied, many servitors of Lord Jagannath come and go on the path by the Simhadvar gate of the Jagannath temple. Therefore, I did not go by that path, but instead went by the beach. Sanatana Goswami did not realize that there were burning blisters on his feet because of the heat of the sand. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was pleased to hear about Sanatana Goswami's great respect for the temple of Lord Sri Jagannath. Because his disease produced wet sores on his body, Sanatana Goswami used to avoid embracing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but nevertheless, the Lord would embrace him by force. This made Sanatana Goswami very unhappy, and therefore he consulted Jagadananda Pandit about what he should do. Jagadananda advised him to return to Vrindavan after the cart festival of Jagannath. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard about this instruction, he chastised Jagadananda Pandit and reminded him that Sanatana Goswami was senior to him and also more learned. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed Sanatana Goswami that because Sanatana was a pure devotee, the Lord was never inconvenienced by his bodily condition. Because the Lord was a sannyasi, he did not consider one body better than another. The Lord also informed him that he was maintaining Sanatana and the other devotees just like a father. Therefore, the moisture oozing from Sanatana's itching skin did not affect the Lord at all. After speaking with Sanatana Goswami in this way, the Lord again embraced him, and after this embrace, Sanatana Goswami became free from the disease. The Lord ordered Sanatana Goswami to stay with him for that year and the next year. After seeing the Rath Yatra festival, he left Purushottama Kshetra and returned to Vrindavan. After meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Rupa Goswami also returned to Bengal, where he remained for 1 year. Whatever money he owned, he distributed among his relatives, the Brahmins, and the temples. In this way, he completely retired and returned to Vrindavan to meet Sanatana Goswami. After narrating these incidents, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has given a list of the main books of Sanatana Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, and Jiva Goswami. I'll just mention also towards the end of the chapter, there's some description of the meeting between Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Jiva Goswami. Okay. Text 1. Vrindavanat punah praptam Shri Gora Shri Sanatanam Dehapatadavan Snehat Shudham Chakre Parikshaya. When Sanatana Goswami returned from Vrindavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu affectionately saved him from his determination to commit suicide. Then, after testing him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu purified his body. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Vaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nilatala hoite rupa goreya begela matura hoite sanatana nilatala oila. When Srila Rupa Goswami returned from Jagannath Puri to Bengal, Sanatana Goswami went from Mathura to Jagannath Puri to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sanatana Goswami was already in the Vrindavan Mathura area, and now he heard Lord Chaitanya is back at Jagannath Puri, so he's going to visit him. And this is like, I don't know, what is it, 1,500 miles walking. So just say, oh, I think 15 minutes down the road. This is like, I mean, these are major commitments. Sanatana Goswami walked alone on the path through Jarikhanda forest in central India. Sometimes he fasted and sometimes he would eat. Because of bad water in Jarikhanda and because of fasting, Sanatana Goswami contracted a disease that made his body itch. Thus he was afflicted with itching sores from which fluid oozed. In disappointment, Sanatana Goswami considered, I am of a low caste and my body is useless for devotional service. When I go to Jagannath Puri, I shall not be able to see Lord Jagannath, nor shall I always be able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I have heard that the residential quarters of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are near the temple of Jagannath, but I shall not have the power to go near the temple. The servants of Lord Jagannath generally move about tending to their duties, but if they touch me, I shall be an offender. Therefore, if I sacrifice this body in a good place, my unhappiness will be mitigated and I shall attain an exalted destination. During the Rath Yatra festival, when Lord Jagannath comes out of the temple, I shall give up this body under the wheel of his cart. After seeing Lord Jagannath, I shall give up my body under the wheel of the cart in the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This will be the highest benediction of my life. Having made this resolution, Sanatana Goswami went to Nilachala, where he inquired directions from people and approached the residence of Haridas Thakur. He offered his respects to the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, who knew him and thus embraced him. Sanatana Goswami was very eager to see the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Haridas Thakur said, the Lord is coming here very soon. Hinakale Prabhu Upala Boga De Kia Haridase Milite Oila Bhakta Ganalana. At that very moment, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after visiting the temple of Jagannath to see the offering of Upala Bhoga, morning refreshments, came with his other devotees to see Haridas Thakur. Seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they both immediately fell flat like rods to offer obeisances. The Lord then lifted Haridas and embraced him. Haridas Thakur said to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, here is Sanatana Goswami offering his obeisances. Seeing Sanatana Goswami, the Lord was greatly surprised. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came forward to embrace him, Sanatan backed away and spoke as follows: My Lord, please do not touch me. I fall at your lotus feet. I am the lowest of men, having been born of a low caste. Besides that, I have infections on my body. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, embraced Sanatan Goswami by force. Thus the moisture oozing from the itching sores touched the transcendental body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord introduced all the devotees to Sanatan Goswami, who offered his respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of them all. The Lord and his devotees sat on a raised platform, and below that sat Haridas Thakur and Sanatan Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from Sanatan about news of his well-being. Sanatan replied, Everything is auspicious because I have seen your lotus feet. When the Lord asked about all the Vaishnavas of Mathura, Sanatan Goswami informed him of their good health and fortune. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed Sanatan Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami was here for 10 months. He left for Bengal just 10 days ago. Your brother Anupam is now dead. He was a very good devotee who had firm conviction in Raghunath, Lord Ramachandra. Sanatana kahe nicha vamshe mora janma adharma anyaya yatna amara kula dharma. Sanatan Goswami said, I was born in a low family, for my family commits all kinds of irreligious acts that violate the scriptural injunctions. My Lord, without hatred for my family, you have accepted me as your servant. Only by your mercy is there good fortune in my family. From the very beginning of his childhood, my younger brother Anupama was a great devotee of Raghunath, Lord Ramachandra, and he worshipped him with great determination. He always chanted the holy name of Raghunath and meditated upon him. He continuously heard about the activities of the Lord from the Ramayana and chanted about them. Rupa and I are his elder brothers. He stayed with us continuously. He heard Srimad Bhagavatam and talks about Lord Krishna with us, and both of us examined him. Dear Vallabha, we said, please hear from us. Lord Krishna is supremely attractive. His beauty, sweetness, and pastimes of love are without limit. Engage yourself in devotional service to Krishna with both of us. We 3 brothers shall stay together and enjoy discussing the pastimes of Lord Krishna. In this way, we both spoke to him again and again, and because of his persuasion and his respect for us, his mind turned somewhat toward our instructions. Vallabha replied, My dear brothers, how can I disobey your orders? Initiate me into the Krishna mantra, so that I may perform devotional service to Lord Krishna. Eta kahi ratri kale karena chintana kemane chatimu raghunatera charana. After saying this, at night he began to think, how shall I give up the lotus feet of Lord Raghunath? He stayed up all night and cried. In the morning, he came to us and submitted the following plea. I have sold my head at the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra. I cannot take it away. That would be too painful for me. Both of you, please be merciful to me and order me in such a way so that life after life I may serve the lotus feet of Lord Raghunath. It is impossible for me to give up the lotus feet of Lord Raghunath. When I even think of giving them up, my heart breaks. Upon hearing this, both of us embraced him and encouraged him by saying, You are a great saintly devotee, for your determination in devotional service is fixed. In this way, we both praised him. My dear Lord, the family upon which you bestow even a little mercy is always fortunate, for such mercy makes all miseries disappear. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, There was a similar incident concerning Murari Gupta. Formerly I examined him, and his determination was similar. Glorious is that devotee who does not give up the shelter of his Lord, and glorious is that Lord who does not abandon his servant. If by chance a servant falls down and goes somewhere else, glorious is that master who captures him and brings him back by the hair. It is very good that you have derived it is very good that you have arrived here. Now stay in this room with Haridas Thakur. So there's varieties of rasas with God, with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? I mean, certainly in the Western Mideast traditions, we're most familiar with, the fear and awe and reverence like that. But then you see in this Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, just like all of the types of relationships we have in this world, this is the shadow of the pure form of all those of friendship, of romance, of parental relationships, of servant master. Okay, and so in some technical sense, so Krishna. So to Krishna is the supreme. Ete chamsa klapumsa Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the source of all the expansions, all the incarnations. Nrsimhadev, Ramachandra, Vamanadev, Varahadev, Ramadi Mortishu Kalam, Ramadi Mortishu Kalani Amena Tistanana Vatarana Karod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Svayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo Govinda Madi Pusham Tamaham Bhajami. That's a verse from Brahma Samhita. Ramadi means Krishna is the source of Ramachandra. So Sanatana Gosvami and Rupa Goswami are talking to their younger brother, and they're saying, yes, worship Krishna, and they're studying Bhagavatam. Of course, Bhagavatam has pastimes about Lord Ramachandra, but especially there's a whole lot about Krishna there. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So Anupam, he said, oh yes, I will serve Krishna. But Anupam, so there is one sense different rasas are higher and lower based on greater intimacy. But then it's a taste. It's a taste in Anupam's distinctive personal inspiration was serving Ramachandra, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman. So he tried to direct it towards Krishna under the guidance of his elder brothers. He was like, I just can't do it. And there's other examples like that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, such as Murari Gupta. Actually, the whole first part of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami bases that on the diaries, the Kadachas of Murari Gupta. And the second part of Chaitanya Charitamrita is really based on the Kadachas, the diaries of Srup Damodar Goswami, as told to Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami by Raghunath Das Goswami. Damayanti.
I just wanted to clarify what you meant by based on, so Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami was referencing other materials.
Yes.
During compiling the Chaitanya.
Yeah. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, because he never had that personal connection. He came a little bit after Lord Chaitanya's disappearance, and so he didn't personally interview Lord Chaitanya. Of course, Ibn Prabhupada calls it mystic television, so he has that. But then, so he gets it from the diaries of Murari Gupta, and he gets it from Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was very present with Lord Chaitanya during so much of his later pastimes, and Raghunath Das Goswami gave to Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami the diaries of Srup Damodar Goswami, who was a very intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya. So that's kind of the material for.
And there's also this, you're saying mystic television. He was writing from.
Yes.
Some sort of channeling.
Channeling, yeah. Just like the Bhagavad Gita. They're Sanjaya, he's not on the battlefield, but through mystic television, that's a term Prabhupada used, through mystic television, he's seeing what's happening on the battlefield. So, Krishna's
There's quotes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So now we got Sanatana Goswami with Haridas Thakur. Yes. And so Lord Chaitanya goes on talking to Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Dunhe Parama Pradhan Krishna Rasa Asvadanokara Laha Krishna Nam. That's text 49, chapter 4, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila. Both of you are expert in understanding the mellows of Lord Krishna's devotional service. Therefore, you should both continue relishing the taste for such activities and chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Having said this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up and left, and through Govinda he sent prasad for them to eat. In this way, Sanatana Goswami stayed under the care of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He would see the wheel on the pinnacle of the Jagannath temple and offer respectful obeisances. Every day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go there to meet these two stalwart devotees and discuss topics of Krishna with them for some time. Who are these two stalwart devotees? It's like a quick quiz. It's like a spot quiz.
Sanatana and Haridas.
Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur. Yeah, so very interesting here. So both very, and this gets unfolded as this chapter goes on. So Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami, they're both forbidden to enter the Jagannath temple. They're both forbidden to enter the Jagannath temple. And Haridas Thakur was born in a Muslim family, considered, low caste. And Sanatana Goswami was actually born in a Brahmin family, but he was serving the Muslim government. He was pretty much the prime minister, very powerful person. So he was like associating like that. And so of course that's and that those rules are still there today. Like someone who's not of the right caste can't enter. And so it's material conception. Srila Prabhupada criticized it, this and that. So obviously it's a material conception at the coming, to not allow like Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur to enter the temple. Like, you don't got greater spiritual personalities than that. But we can also notice that Sanatana Goswami, Haridas Thakur, Lord Chaitanya, none of them started a protest movement. And Lord Chaitanya, he certainly had a propensity to protest, because earlier, like in his youth, his young adulthood, he organized a protest with like 100,000 people with the Chandkazi, because the Chandkazi broke the Mridangas. But in this instance, he didn't do like a protest movement. So they all kind of accepted it, even though, there are, it's not for us to criticize the priests of Jagannath Puri, but Srila Prabhupada criticized them from that point of view. But now we can see, so Lord Chaitanya and Sanatana Goswami, they were not allowed to visit Lord Jagannath. But so then Lord Jagannath every day personally visited them and brought them lunch, the Mahaprasad, Lord Jagannath in the form of Lord Chaitanya, personally visited them every day. And of course, Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur, they're looking at the chakra at the top of the temple, and that's non-different from seeing Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra in the temple. So some of you probably heard my personal story of Jagannath Puri, and yes, it was in the first time I visited India was 1988, and but I'll tell it again in case some haven't heard it. So I've been to India 9 times, and that was really 1988. The first time was the only time I wasn't there to conduct a seminar. Child protection, Sappho, transformative communication. All the other times I went to conduct seminars and like that. Most recent time was 2016, when assisted by Prabhu, we conducted 3 foundational seminars in Bangalore. So 1988, and so we did two weeks in Mayapur, and then at the end 2 weeks in Vrindavan, and in between we had like about 3 days in Bhubaneswar and Jagannath Puri. Bhubaneswar is that's a city with an airport near Jagannath Puri. Anyhow, so there at the Jagannath Puri part of the trip, I was with devotees from Israel and Holland, Israel and the Netherlands. And so we're there right outside of the Jagannath temple. And obviously we got like whitish type skin, we're not going to get in, and that was understood. But there was one amongst us, whatever his name is, Madan Mohan Das. He was an accountant from Holland, Indian bodied. So we thought, you can go in. Like that. So he went, and we're all dressed in like devotional clothes. So he was like in white, dhoti kurta, tilak. Vaishnav tilak, as Prabhupada teaches us. So Madan Mohan goes in. I guess he's probably about 30 years old, something like that. And so like, I don't know, 15 minutes later, he comes back and we go, huh, what was your experience? So he said, they didn't let me in. So I said, well, you got the right color skin and everything. What's the problem here, So he said, he tried to go in, and then he said, but they pointed to us, and they said, because you associate with Christians, because you're associating with them, kind of like the Sanatana Gosvami thing. Sanatana Gosvami was actually born into the proper caste, but because you associate with them, so therefore you're not qualified to come in. So, apparently very material consciousness, but just wanted to share that story. Hare Krishna. Okay, so maybe we'll read a little more and then we can open up for questions and discussion. So then, so text 53. Divya Prasad, Paya Nitya Jagannath Mandire, Ta'ani Nitya Avashya Dena Don Hakari. The offerings of prasad in the temple of Lord Jagannath were of the highest quality. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would bring this prasad and deliver it to both devotees. Ekadina Asi Prabhu Dunhare Malila Sanatane Achambite Kahite Lagila. One day, when the Lord came to meet them, he suddenly began speaking to Sanatana Goswami. My dear Sanatana, he said, if I could attain Krishna by committing suicide, I would certainly give up millions of bodies without a moment's hesitation. You should know that one cannot attain Krishna simply by giving up the body. Krishna is attainable by devotional service. There is no other means to attain him. Acts such as suicide are influenced by the mode of ignorance, and in ignorance and passion, one cannot understand who Krishna is. Unless one discharges devotional service, one cannot awaken one's dormant love for Krishna, and there is no means to attain him other than awakening that dormant love. Next, Lord Chaitanya quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 14, 20. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna said, my dear Uddhava, neither through Astanga Yoga, the mystic yoga system to control the senses, nor through impersonal monism or an analytical study of the absolute truth, nor through study of the Vedas, nor through austerities, charity, or acceptance of sannyas can one satisfy me as much as by developing unalloyed devotional service unto me. Measures like suicide are causes for sin. A devotee never achieves shelter at Krishna's lotus feet by such actions. Because of feelings of separation from Krishna, an exalted devotee sometimes wants to give up his life. By such ecstatic love, however, one attains the audience of Krishna, and at that time he cannot give up his body. One who is deeply in love with Krishna cannot tolerate separation from the Lord. Therefore, such a devotee always desires his own death. And Lord Chaitanya goes on quoting from Bhagavatam. Oh, lotus-eyed one, great personalities like Lord Shiva desire to bathe in the dust of your lotus feet to drive away ignorance. If I do not get the mercy of your lordship, I shall observe vows to reduce the duration of my life, and thus I shall give up bodies for hundreds of births if it is possible to get your mercy in that way. So that's spoken by Rukmini, who became Krishna's first wife. Of course, she's the goddess of fortune. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, this verse was spoken by Rukmini Devi in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.52.43. Rukmini Devi, the daughter of King Bhishmak, had heard about Krishna's transcendental attributes, and thus she desired to get Krishna as her husband. Unfortunately, her elder brother Rukmi was envious of Krishna, and therefore wanted her to be offered to Shishupal. When Rukmini became aware of this, she was greatly aggrieved. Thus she wrote Krishna a confidential letter, which was presented and read to him by a Brahmin messenger. This verse appears in that letter. And the next verse is a verse spoken by the gopis, quoted here by Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya, Sanatana Goswami had not revealed his mind to Lord Chaitanya about the, putting himself under the wheel of Jagannath car. So Lord Chaitanya is just, I know what you're thinking. And so just, he's reading the mind, he's seeing the heart. Oh dear Krishna, by your smiling glances and melodious talk, you have awakened a fire of lusty desire in your hearts. Now you should extinguish that fire with a stream of nectar from your lips by kissing us. Kindly do this. Otherwise, dear friend, the fire within our hearts will burn our bodies to ashes because of separation from you. Thus, by meditation, we shall claim shelter at your lotus feet. I'll go on to text 65. Kubudi Chadiya Kara Shravana Kirtana Achirat Pabe Tabe Krishna Racharana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami, give up all your nonsensical desires, for they are unfavorable for getting shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Engage yourself in chanting and hearing, then you will soon achieve the shelter of Krishna without a doubt. A person born in a low family is not unfit for discharging devotional service to Lord Krishna, nor is one fit for devotional service simply because he is born in an aristocratic family of Brahmins. Anyone who takes to devotional service is exalted, whereas a non-devotee is always condemned and abominable. Therefore, in the discharge of devotional service to the Lord, there is no consideration of the status of one's family. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is always favorable to the humble and meek, but aristocrats, learned scholars, and the wealthy are always proud of their positions. So, like the previous chapter, Haridas Thakur, he's again born in what's considered a low family, and just because of his devotion, Savai Samparo Dharmo Yato Bhaktirat Hokshaje, Ayatukya Pritiyata Yatma Suprasidati. That in devotional service, there's no material impediment, whatever one's past, whatever one's past activities. And just with a sincere heart, we engage in devotional service, and then all our karma is burned. So, of course, there's the story of the prostitute, and Maya Devi herself came to divert Haridas Thakur from being completely fixed in chanting Hare Krishna. But as it turned out, both the prostitute and Maya Devi herself, they got transformed into Vaishnavas. So again, like one's past doesn't matter. One's path, whatever one's educational background, whatever gross sinful activities. So this is truly universal process that's not based on anything material. It's completely transcendental process. Bhakti yoga. So next, Lord Chaitanya quotes a text from Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto. Vipradvisha guna yutada ravindana pada ravinda vimukat svapacham varishtam manye tadarpitam no vachane hitarta pranam punati sakulam natu urimana. One may be born in a Brahmin family and have all 12 Brahminical qualities, but if in spite of being thus qualified, he is not devoted to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who has a navel shaped like a lotus, he is not as good as a Chandala, who has dedicated his mind, words, activities, wealth, and life to the service of the Lord. Simply to take birth in a Brahmin family or to have Brahminical qualities is not sufficient. One must be a pure devotee of the Lord. Thus, if a Svapacha or Chandala is a devotee, he delivers not only himself, but his entire family as well. That's the best way we can serve our parents and grandparents, take to devotional service. Whereas a Brahmin who is not a devotee, but simply has Brahminical qualifications, cannot even purify himself, what to speak of his family. This is spoken by Prahlad Maharaj, which is another example of the same principle. Prahlad Maharaj, his father was this like great enemy of Krishna, great enemy of Vishnu. But Prahlad Maharaj is is the best of the great devotees. Bhajanera Majhe Shrishta Navavida Bhakti Krishna Prema Krishna Dite Dare Mahashakti. Among the ways of executing devotional service, the 9 prescribed methods are the best. For these processes have great potency to deliver Krishna an ecstatic love for him. Text 71. Of the 9 processes of devotional service, the most important is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. If one does so, avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses, one very easily obtains the most valuable love of Godhead. After hearing this, Sanatana Goswami was exceedingly astonished. He could understand. My decision to commit suicide has not been greatly appreciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sanatana Goswami concluded, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who knows everything, past, present, and future, has forbidden me to commit suicide. He then fell down, touching the lotus feet of the Lord, and spoke to him as follows. My Lord, you are the omniscient, merciful, independent, supreme Lord. Exactly like an instrument of wood, I dance as you make me do so. I am low-born, indeed, I am the lowest. I am condemned, for I have all the characteristics of a sinful man. If you keep me alive, what will be the profit? Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, your body is my property. You have already surrendered unto me. Therefore, you no longer have any claim to your body. So I'm moved by the perspective here, right? Lord Chaitanya, now he goes into like, you don't even have a right to commit suicide. Who gave you the right? Eh? So Lord Chaitanya goes on, text 77, Parera Dravya Tumi Kenecha Vinashite Dharma Dharma Vichara Kibana Parakarite. Why should you want to destroy another's property? Can't you consider what is right and wrong? Your body is my principal instrument for executing many necessary functions. By your body, I shall carry out many tasks. You shall have to ascertain the basic principles of a devotee, devotional service, love of God, Vaishnav duties, and Vaishnav characteristics. You will also have to explain Krishna's devotional service, establish centers for cultivation of love of Krishna, excavate lost places of pilgrimage, and teach people how to adopt the renounced order. Mathura Vrindavan is my own very dear abode. I want to do many things there to preach Krishna consciousness. By the order of my mother, I am sitting here in Jagannath Puri. Therefore, I cannot go to Mathura Vrindavan to teach people how to live there according to religious principles. I have to do all this work through your body, but you want to give it up. How can I tolerate this? At that time, Sanatana Goswami said to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. No one can understand the deep ideas you plan within your heart. A wooden doll chants and dances according to the direction of a magician, but does not know how he is dancing and singing. My dear Lord, as you cause one to dance, he dances accordingly. But how he dances and who is causing him to dance, he does not know. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said to Haridas Thakur, my dear Haridas, please hear me. This gentleman wants to destroy another's property. Parirastapya dravya kehana kaya bilaya nishediha in are yenana kare anyaya. This is text 88 of chapter 4, Antya-lila. Lord Chaitanya, he's kind of speaking to Haridas Thakur critically of Sanatana Goswami. And he says, one who is entrusted with another's property does not distribute it or use it for his own purposes. Therefore, tell him not to do such an unlawful thing. Haridas Thakur replied, we are falsely proud of our capabilities. Actually, we cannot understand your deep intentions. Unless you inform us, we cannot understand what your purpose is, nor what you want to do through whom. My dear sir, since you, a great personality, have accepted Sanatana Goswami, he is greatly fortunate. No one can be as fortunate as he. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced both Haridas Thakur and Sanatan Goswami, and then got up and left to perform his noon duties. My dear Sanatan, Haridas Thakur said, embracing him, no one can find the limits of your good fortune. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted your body as his own property. Therefore, no one can equal you in good fortune. What Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cannot do with his personal body, he wants to do through you, and he wants to do it in Mathura. Whatever the Supreme Personality of Godhead wants to do will successfully be accomplished. This is your great fortune. That is my mature opinion. I can understand from the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he wants you to write books about the conclusive decision of devotional service and about the regulative principles ascertained from the revealed scriptures. My body could not be used in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, although it took birth in the land of India, this body has been useless. Text 99, Sanatan Goswami replied, O Haridas Thakur, who is equal to you? You are one of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, you are the most fortunate. Very sweet appreciation of each other between Sanatan and Haridas. Text 100, Avatara Karya Prabhura Nama Prachare Se Nija Karya Prabhu Karena Tomara Dvare. The mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for which he has descended as an incarnation, is to spread the importance of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Now, instead of personally doing so, he is spreading it through you. We say, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. My dear sir, you are chanting the holy name 300,000 times daily and informing everyone of the importance of such chanting. Apanaya chare kehana kare prachara karena kehana karena achara. Some behave well, some behave very well, but do not preach the code of Krishna consciousness, whereas others preach, but do not behave properly. You simultaneously perform both duties in relation to the holy name by your personal behavior and by your preaching. Therefore, you are the spiritual master of the entire world, for you are the most advanced devotee in the world. Purport by Srila Prabhupada to text 103. Sanatana Goswami clearly defines herein the bona fide spiritual master of the world. The qualifications expressed in this connection are that one must act according to the scriptural injunctions and at the same time preach. One who does so is a bona fide spiritual master. Haridas Thakur was the ideal spiritual master because he regularly chanted on his beads a prescribed number of times. Indeed, he was chanting the holy name of the Lord 300,000 times a day. I think it's something like 172 rounds. Sometimes we hear 333,333 brings it to like 192 rounds. Similarly, the members of the Krishna consciousness movement chant a minimum of 16 rounds a day, which can be done without difficulty. And at the same time, they must preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu according to the gospel of Bhagavad Gita as it is. One who does so is quite fit to become a spiritual master for the entire world. So we can see here with Sanatana Goswami, Haridas Thakur, and Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada, just this kind of dynamic, symbiotic integration, right? There's like let's call it the sadhana, the internal cultivation. And it's not suggested we try to imitate Haridas Thakur with the 172 rounds. So probably gave us minimum 16 rounds. Chant more if we had, if we're ready to. But so there's the sadhana, and then there's the outreach. So it's not just like, well, I don't have time for chanting and reading, morning program or like that because I'm doing service. No, and then the other way to be imbalanced is like that. Okay, maybe we have some internal cultivation, some sadhana, but then what's our outreach service? How are we sharing kirtan, transcendental philosophy, prasad distribution, and they go together. Right? The more we cultivate, we got a taste. We want to share it, and then yeah, and then naturally, because otherwise, if we're out there trying to do service sharing, but then we're feeling dry. We're feeling dry because we don't. So it's just we don't have that internal. We're not cultivating the taste from Chaitanya Charitamrita to Bhagavad Gita, chanting Hare Krishna. So it's just this very dynamic integration of the internal cultivation and sharing, prachara. Hare Krishna. Prativeti Achayata, Nagarati Gram Sarvacha Prachara Hoibe Morana. We can see the English word preach comes from the Sanskrit prachara. Okay, so we've gone through a little over 100 verses of these wonderful pastimes. I'll pause here if anyone would like to share anything, any inspiration, realizations, questions, comments, and realizations. Any questions or comments at this time? Garuda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for this lively class on these pastimes. I guess one main thing that was kind of coming up for me during this kind of taking a look here is just the perspective that our bodies are not our bodies.
Yeah.
Recently there was a death in the family, and so a lot of really more meaningful conversation was had over the weekend. But that this kind of theme came up. I was speaking with my niece about sexuality, and without really knowing like what is the purpose of even sex life, and this perspective that these bodies aren't ours to just use in any way we like. Looking at like sex life, for instance, like you can look at like mechanically, like it makes sense that sex life is for procreating. There is this experience of enjoyment along with it, but without like proper knowledge of like what is the purpose of this activity, then we could just think that, oh, it's just to enjoy. And so yeah, just looking at like that perspective of like these aren't our bodies, and then without like knowing whose body it is and what is the purpose of these bodies, like we could just get so entangled in so many different like ways. And then looking at like even my own upbringing, and just growing up in a culture of like me, mine, this is, I am this body, and it's like identifying with that, and then what do I want to do with it? Just surrounded by a culture of like, well, what do you want to do with your body? And and how long will that enjoyment last too? It's like, and then looking at even the topic of marriage and divorce kind of came up as well, like looking at like well, we don't enjoy anymore, so like what's the point in staying together? And like what about like a higher purpose or a higher perspective of like what is the purpose of marriage or even union between two individuals? Like just kind of looking at like how important it is to really know what is the purpose of life, and what is the purpose of occupying these bodies, and even knowing like this perspective that this body isn't even mine to really utilize. And that's kind of what came up for me here, is really seeing like it's just, I kept hearing it over and over again, like our these bodies are vessels to be used in direction and leadership from our creator that created the bodies. anyway, that's kind of came up for me, just me just taking a deeper look of my own personal experience of that, because I could still see how I'm playing out today, where it's like, oh, what do I want to enjoy? Yeah. Even though I've been given this perspective, you know, it's like almost 10 years I've been, you know, hearing, you know, this perspective, and I can still see how it's like, you know, such a big, you know, a process to like fully embody that, or fully live from that place of, you know, this body is not mine. So anyway, that's what came out for me. That's what
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I appreciate your focus there very much. Right, because and probably the place where we focus the most in our philosophical lectures, like, yeah, I'm not my body. Right, we're not our bodies. There's the finger and the owner of the finger. You know, like that. We're not our bodies. So that's like such an important fundamental spiritualization. I'm not my body. But but even that, it's very incomplete. It's really, actually, it's not even my body. And that's where Lord Chaitanya is going with Sanatana Gosvami. They're like, yes, actually, this body is God's, it's Krishna's. And so actually belongs to Srila Prabhupada, just like Lord Chaitanya's Sanatana Goswami's spiritual master. It isn't my body to just, so Lord Chaitanya is rhetorically asking Haridas Thakur, how can Sanatana Goswami want to do something? It's not even his property. So, yeah. You know, your first program was 2013, shortly after your first advanced course. So more than a decade, at least, that we've been in association in these programs. And so for me, now I'm reading Prabhupada's books going back to 1980, so well over 40 years, chanting japa since 1983, and I'm far from realizing that I'm not my body, and even farther from realizing that it's not even my body, it's not my property. But just in this conversation, just to consider in those terms, like, yeah, this isn't my property, it's not my property, but you know, I'm a steward, right? That term is used in the Bible. I'm a steward. Like I have responsibility to use it. Again, not for my whimsical enjoyment, like I do so much, but just to think in those terms. How can I use it for the actual propriety, for Krishna's movement? Just that it's transformational, uplifting, just to begin to open the door to that perspective. So thanks for focusing there. Damayanti.
I was searching through pages we read, but there was a place where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I want to do devotional service through him.
Yeah.
I think it was like that phrase similar.
That's
to
right.
that.
Yeah. I got plans. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I've never heard a statement, like a personal statement.
Right.
Like, I want to do devotional service through him.
Right.
And it was like, oh my God, I felt touched by the phrase I want.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, it's vulnerable.
Personal.
It's vulnerable. It's
Yes.
truth. It's being spoken from the heart. And I don't know, I just feel like there was very personal expression, and also touched by like knowing that also means all of us. Like there's no way that that's not true for every soul.
Yeah.
That Krishna, like Lord Chaitanya, wants to do devotional. I just hadn't thought about like also just that Lord Chaitanya wants to do devotional service at all. You know, I mean, of course I know that, but it means I just think of Lord Chaitanya as Krishna.
Okay.
But I understand he's a special incarnation that is as a devotee, like practicing being a devotee, what that's like. So he wants to do devotional service, and naturally he would want to do devotional service through every soul. Because that's the nature. That's the nature of the soul. Anyway, anyway, I just know that it
Yeah,
extends,
yeah.
I know it extends to me,
Yes,
and I haven't thought about that, like, it just feels more personal.
yeah,
It's not like it's just your duty to do devotional service.
Like I
because-
should, because of the philosophy. and
Right,
sense.
but there's actually a longing
There's
from
a
your
person desiring,
source or your creator that
yeah,
is excited to put you to service.
yeah, and like, there's people who give themselves to be directed by God.
Yeah.
And there's people who feel directed by God.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't really feel that, like, I got personal instruction, except for through, Srila Prabhupada.
yeah,
But, just in a personal way.
right,
And anyway, all I can say is that's attractive to me, and not that
it's attractive.
I'm fully there, but I appreciate it. Like, I just appreciate personalism. Like
Yes.
hearing Krishna's desires. And then, we can all respond in a personal way too. So, anyway, but we're connected.
Thank you, Damayanti. I'm moved by your personal emphasis. Yeah, we can imagine. Lord Chaitanya, just like he's speaking to Sant Goswami, we can imagine him speaking to us, and like we can imagine he is, or at least he wants to. And like, but we're not necessarily receptive, like Sanatana Goswami. And so, yeah, like no, I got with Sanatana Goswami saying, no, you need no, I have plans for your body to write these important books to spread Vaishnavism for a long time and to excavate special places in Mathura and Vrindavan and to inspire this and that. So yeah, there's no doubt about it. Lord Chaitanya Prabhupada, they're personally wanting for us too, in that reciprocation. Thanks for sharing your personal emphasis. Hare Krishna. Any other comments or questions? Srila Sanatana Goswami ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki. Jai Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks for your association.
Hare Krishna.